Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In today's episode, county officials joined together to battle homelessness. The Daytona Beach International Airport reports more laser strikes, and the new Smyrna Beach Library gets a makeover. In Volusia Here and Now, we visit the Ponce de Leon Inlet light station. And later, in Solutions for Your Life, we get a look at the upcoming Wildflower Festival. Finally, joining Joanne Magley in the studio is Debbie Meihls, Executive Director of the new Smyrna Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. The Volusia County Council and the Volusia County School Board have set the ball rolling for a homeless shelter that will provide space for 300 children and their parents. Both groups voted unanimously to cooperate on a deal that will transform the vacant Hurst Elementary School into a homeless shelter. This is a critical service because the school system has identified more than 2,300 of its students as homeless. The 55,000 square foot center will be called Hope Place. It could be open in a year or less. The County Council has agreed to purchase the school property for $200,000 and offer the school district an $800,000 interest-free loan that would be used to develop a new location for the employee training that is being done in the old Hearst buildings. This spring, the County Council will vote to spend an additional $3.5 million to renovate the 9 buildings in the school complex. Under the agreement, Halifax Urban Ministries would become the owner and operator of Hope Place by the end of June.
This is a project that would help our children in our community. Every homeless child, every homeless family deserves to have a leg up. All they're looking for is a break for them to be able to put their lives together. I think we'd be able to help our children to be able to have a safe place to live and thrive and go to school and be able to continue in their education instead of quitting school because of hardship.
Hope Place will offer housing for homeless families and teens on their own. It will also include a medical clinic, a cafeteria, a laundry area, a family TV room, and areas for pre-K and adult education. Large spring break crowds and other special events are resulting in a larger number of laser incidents near the core tourist area in Daytona Beach. There is a growing safety problem in the airline industry involving lasers being pointed at airplanes, and authorities in Daytona Beach are cracking down on violators. Nationally, the number of laser strikes on planes is growing, even as the federal government enacts tougher penalties for people caught shining the devices. The maximum penalty for pointing a laser at an aircraft and interfering with the operation of an aircraft is 20 years in federal prison and $250,000 fine. Additionally, the FAA can pursue a civil penalty up to $11,000 for each violation. The Federal Aviation Administration recorded 3,894 laser strikes in 2014. That's the most current data available. So far this year, there have been 2 reported laser events involving aircraft near Daytona Beach International Airport. In 2015, there were 14 reported events. These incidents occur when a pilot is hit by a laser pointer from the ground aimed at an aircraft, usually upon takeoff or landing.
When pilots are getting ready to land or on the approach, their nighttime vision is conditioned for the runway environment. The lighting, the cockpit lighting on the flight deck is turned way down low so they can see outside all of the visual cues that they need to make a safe landing. When we do get a laser event, an unauthorized laser event, depending on how the airport is contacted, airport operations, there's a call tree, a notification tree that happens, and the FBI is part of that. Local law enforcement through Volusia County Sheriff's Office and Daytona Beach Police Department are notified as well, and we try and apprehend the person.
Airport officials urge anyone who sees activity dealing with lasers pointed towards an aircraft to call 911. The new Smyrna Beach Regional Library is getting a major facelift as workers lay new floor covering, paint the inside walls, and install a storefront revolving door. The library, which has been closed since March 21st, is scheduled to reopen Monday, April 11th. Replacing the flooring in the library isn't as easy as you might think. Removing and manually replacing the tens of thousands of books on the shelves could take months. Instead, the county has hired a company to move them on a lift to make way for the renovations.
We're in the process of a mini renovation at the new Smyrna Beach Regional Library. We're installing new floor covering and we're doing painting in the interior of the building. And while that's going on, we're installing a new storefront entrance that includes a revolving door to help with temperature control and humidity control because we have high traffic in our entrances at most of our regional libraries, and the automatic doors stay open almost the entire time that the library is open.
The 25,000 square foot library opened in 1998 and welcomes more than 1,000 patrons a day. In addition to popular books, periodicals, movies, and CDs, the library offers in-depth reference collections, public access computers, and individual sections for children and teens.
I want to remind all of our library patrons that normally use the new Smyrna Beach Library that the book drop is closed until we reopen on April 11th. And during that time, they can certainly visit any of our other library branches to return their materials, check out new materials. The closest libraries will be the Edgewater Library and the Port Orange Library. And if they have materials that they've reserved, we will give them a call when those items are, when their name comes up, and we'll ask them if they want us to hold them until the library reopens, or if they want to pick them up at another branch. And then if they do, we'll send them to that branch and we'll hold them until they come in and pick them up.
To learn more about the Volusia County's 13 public library branches, you can visit volusialibrary.org.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Find fun activities to do, like boating and biking, or camping and hiking, plus much more. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
The Ponce de Leon Inlet Light Station is a National Historic Landmark. And as Here and Now reporter Joanne Magley explains, its beacon of light has led navigators to the Volusia County shores for nearly 125 years.
Probably since the bicentennial, Americans have begun to realize the rich engineering history of structures in America and find the importance of those structures.
The structures John Mann is referring to are lighthouses. Mann is a tour guide for the Ponce de Leon Lighthouse in Ponce Inlet. It's the tallest lighthouse in Florida and the third tallest lighthouse in the United States.
This particular lighthouse is one of a series of tall coastal aids to navigation that was built by the United States Lighthouse Service to help, of course, navigators ply the various waters north and south of the east coast of Florida.
The Ponce de Leon Lighthouse is a private and active aid to navigation, although it's not run by the Coast Guard. The Ponce de Leon Lighthouse Preservation Society maintains the light, turning it on every night and off each morning. Construction of the lighthouse began in 1884 and was first lit November 1st, 1887. Back then it was known as the Mosquito Inlet Lighthouse. The name changed in 1926 to Ponce de Leon Inlet Lighthouse. The explorer Ponce de Leon was believed to have been there in 1513. If you're going to walk the lighthouse, you have to be in good physical condition because you'll be climbing 203 steps to the top. And once you climb all the way to the top, you can take in the breathtaking views of the intercoastal and the Atlantic Ocean. And while the view is great, the lighthouse is a great lesson in American history. One of the most famous American short stories actually had a great deal to do with this lighthouse. In 1897, the USS Commodore sunk 12 miles out to sea, with author Stephen Crane on board. Crane and 3 companions spent 30 hours coming ashore in a 10-foot dinghy, following the light from the lighthouse. The sinking of the Commodore in part led the author to writing the famous short story, The Open Boat. But as Mann points out, there is much more to this historic lighthouse than just the lighthouse.
In addition to the light tower itself, there are the 3 residences of the 3 keepers who were here, and also the outbuildings, which serve, in addition to the residences, as museums.
The Lighthouse Museum has a large exhibit on the Commodore, as well as other historic artifacts through the end of 1997, representing Florida heritage, maritime tradition, and lighthouses of the world. For Volusia Here and Now, I'm Joanne Magley.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Today on Solutions for Your Life, David Griffiths, director of the IFAS Extension in Volusia County, discusses the importance of planting wildflowers and the upcoming 10th annual Wildflower Festival.
Hello, my name is David Griffiths. I'm the University of Florida IFAS Extension County Extension Director. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the upcoming 10th Annual Wildflower and Garden Festival. The festival is held in downtown DeLand, historic DeLand, down on Indiana Avenue from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. Saturday, April 2nd. It's a great time to come downtown DeLand, visit the shops, visit our Wildflower Festival, listen to our speakers, learn a lot about, even purchase some plants. Plants will be available for sale. But we always have great speakers. The speakers are in the Athens Theater, which is a fantastic, beautifully restored theater. We have 5 speakers. We have Dr. Walter Taylor from UCF, who has written most of the books on wildflowers in the state. Tom McCubbin will be speaking. We have a gentleman coming down from the University of Florida to talk about pollinators and bees. We have another person that will be speaking on photography, photographing wildflowers. He will also be showing his pictures as well. We also have a shuttle that will take you back and forth to the DeLand Craft Art Show, which is held at Earl Brown Park. So there's 2 events going on that day. We provide you with a free shuttle to go back and forth to each of those events. One of the most important reasons why we recommend wildflowers, they are very low maintenance, no fertilization, no irrigation. They're great pollinator plants. Bees, butterflies, hummingbirds all love wildflowers. So if we could just take the time and plant a small wildflower garden in our landscapes, we are going to help nature, we're going to help the butterflies, we're going to help the pollinators, which are very, very important to all of us. We hope to see you on April 2nd for a great day to help celebrate our 10th annual Florida Wildflower and Garden Festival. With Solutions for Your Life, I am David Griffiths.
It's time to head into the studio and join the Director of Community Information, Joanne Magley, and her guest, Debbie Meihls, Executive Director of the New Smyrna Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Thanks, Amber. Well, tourism is Volusia County's largest industry, and it's been booming in the last few years. So with us in the studio today to talk about how the local tourism industry is doing is Debbie Meihls, Executive Director of the New Smyrna Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So you're relatively new to Volusia County and to New Smyrna Beach. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm a 20-year industry vet, and I have worked at a call center in St. Petersburg for 4 years, where I worked with over 28 convention and visitors bureaus throughout the country. And then I went to the St. Pete Clearwater Convention and Visitors Bureau and was there for 10 years and 6 years at Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau on the West Coast. And now I'm fortunate to be here in lovely New Smyrna Beach area.
Yeah, and we're glad to have you here. So as we mentioned, tourism the last few years has been doing really good. Let's talk about from a state level. How are we looking as a state is concerned?
As a state, Florida is doing amazing. They are actually just pulling ahead of California as maybe a number one spot for visitors to come to. They've done a dynamic marketing integrated approach to everything. Everything they do is co-opable. You know, they know that not everything fits everyone's needs, so they offer a diversity of programming. And the state is really gearing up to have a really intense 2020 program. They had 105 million visitors to the state last year. That's really quite a feat.
Wow, yeah. So when a lot of people think of tourism and Florida, they automatically think of Orlando with the big theme parks. And tourism in Orlando, how does that affect our area in New Smyrna Beach?
Well, it certainly helps. We actually do depend and have depended quite a bit on the Orlandoan to come over to New Smyrna Beach and to Daytona and West Volusia to, you know, vacation, do the weekend jaunts and everything. Orlando's important primarily because of the lift coming into the airports between Sanford and Orlando. There's a lot of international traffic. So not only do you get the resident of Florida for the drive market, but you'll also get the international traveler.
Right.
So it's really important. They have a lot of holiday to spend in the States. And usually what they do is that hub and spoke approach where they'll fly into Orlando and then kind of branch off and go to another destination. And that's where we have to do the right marketing approach to get them to come over and stay in our condos or B&Bs or hotels for a week.
Yeah, so we're not competing with Orlando. We're actually embracing the draw of the people that come in there and just trying to direct them to our area.
Correct. They are doing amazing in their numbers alone, and with theme parks, you know, continually being added. So it's a great overspill for us, and we actually want to target, you know, a really nice affluent, you know, visitor to come here and stay and do sustainable tourism.
So let's talk about the local picture now. Volusia County's resort tax for tourist accommodations, they're up throughout the county. How did we do last year, and what are we looking at for the future?
Last year, we were up 12%, which was great. This year, so far for 4 months, starting October 1, we're up 9%, which is great. So if we keep on that trend, you know, we'll definitely stay in the double digits for the end of the year. Summer sometimes can be a little problematic, but that's when the Floridians tend to travel, and also when the kids are out of school up north and they want to come down and go to the beach and go to some of the theme parks. So even though it's summer and it might be summer up north, people still travel.
And give people an explanation of what we actually do with the resort tax, because the resort tax is the tax that comes when people rent a hotel or a condo. So what happens then to that money?
Sure. On every dollar, 6 cents is collected. It's called the bed tax. It gets remitted to the county and then remitted to our agency, which is Southeast Volusia Advertising Authority. We do business as New Smyrna Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau. We then take those tax dollars from the bed tax and we make a very integrated approach to our marketing. So we have some online digital marketing, we have print, We do some TV, and we do some other kind of sponsorships, and we also kind of promote some of our local events so that the visitors can come over. So the money is used towards marketing, and it's very important actually to stay in the place.
So what are some of the selling points when you're marketing New Smyrna Beach?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, it might seem obvious, but the beaches are definitely the draw.
Right.
And I must admit, New Smyrna Beach has just a nice selection of diversity of beaches. From the North Point, Smyrna Dunes Park, you've got your pet-friendly beaches, and just the beautiful inlet there. And then you've got from the jetty to Minorca, about that area, you've got great surfing. So you've got a nice kind of rip wave, if you will. And then farther south, you've got Bethune Beach, and then rounding out the group is the Canaveral Seashore, National Seashore, and that's a beautiful, pristine area of beach and bird sanctuary, all the way at the southern tip of New Smyrna Beach. So that's a beautiful hook. Also, New Smyrna Beach was rated by National Geographic Traveler as the #2 destination for surfing. So behind California, that's an amazing feat.
Yeah.
Also, we've been rated #2 for small towns with a vibrant art community. We have Atlantic Center for the Arts, and also the Arts on Douglas, the Hub on Canal Street, and everything. So we've got a thriving arts community, which arts really is a fiber of the community. So a lot of people love to come in and go to the Images Art Show and just peruse the galleries. As far as dining goes, it's amazing. We have a lot of individually owned restaurants that some have such a unique flair that I haven't seen anywhere else. So it's nice that they're just not chain restaurants, because anybody can really get that anywhere.
Right. And that's probably, the success of that probably has a lot to do with the uniqueness surrounding New Smyrna Beach area as well, because a lot of times areas need those flagship restaurants, but in your case, it's kind of the opposite.
It is. We're kind of fortunate that we have 2 downtown areas, I like to call it 2 main streets, if you will, Canal, and you have Flagler. I kind of like to think of Canal as the sophisticated cousin. You know, it's a little bit more demure and nice shopping and the arts, and then you got Flagler, where it's a very beachy vibe, because it actually dead ends right into the Atlantic Ocean on Flagler. So you know, 2 very distinct, you know, avenues there to shop and dine and eat and have fun.
And another important thing to note about tourism is that with our sales tax, basically about 40% of that sales tax is paid for when tourists come to the area. And tourism also provides thousands of jobs within our community.
That's probably a part of tourism that a lot of people forget, and I like to call that the value of tourism. We like to do campaigns yearly to help the residents remember that when you can't get into your restaurant because it's so busy, or the roads are jammed on Friday afternoon or Monday, just remember the visitor is actually leaving behind, you know, an economic impact, and that actually helps sustain the stores. We're able to get more Walgreens or CVS's or supermarkets or boutiques that normally the residents alone could not sustain. Also, it helps the state not institute a state income tax, which helps all of us.
So let's talk about Tourism Week, because that's coming up in a few weeks. I believe it's the first week in May. And how does your tourism agency connect with the state on this observance?
We actually work not only with the state, but also U.S. Travel Organization. They're a domestic organization that works out of Washington, and they have a lot of protocol, and they head up our National Tourism Week. It's from May 1st to May 9th, and they advocate that every destination do something to thank the visitor. So I've reached out to the airport, to Jay at the airport, and asked him if he would make sure that he hangs up some nice banners in there, and that if he would allow us a certain time to get the industry together to come out and rally the visitors coming off the flights and just say thank you for coming and thinking of us, and keep coming back. And secondly, the Lodging Hospitality Association of Volusia County is holding a breakfast for the industry at Embry-Riddle on May 4th at 8 a.m. And they're going to be talking about all the things tourism and the impact that Embry-Riddle will be having on the area that will also contribute to tourism factors. We're looking at New Smyrna Beach is actually the area is looking at hosting an industry luncheon at the Atlantic Center for the Arts. We're still working on that, but that would probably be on May 4th as well. And we would like to get our industry out and just rally and get everybody together on the same page and focusing on how we can improve our tourism.
So before we go, what are some of the upcoming events that you're going to be highlighting for the area?
Well, we have Beach Weeks, which happens twice a year. It's a 9-week period, give or take, that happens in the spring and then in the fall. Something very exciting. I've been a long proponent of Coastal Living Magazine and Timing Corporation. I've worked with them quite often, and they're actually going to be sponsoring a part of Beach Weeks starting in May. So they're going to be sending in their magazines. They're going to be donating some gifts that we can do sweepstakes with. We've got a very intense campaign that's going to run from May to September. And we're going to be having some Instagram takeovers and in-book pages, as well as digital banners and everything promoting Beach Weeks and all the unique events. So there's Cook in the Book, there's a kite festival, there's beach runs. I mean, I've got to admit that it's amazing what all the different events that accumulate under the Beach Week. And it starts in May, and it runs really through the weekend of July 4th, and that kind of is helping us to create a strong shoulder season, going from our regular season into the summer. So yeah, it'll be a great launch pad to keep us busy for the summer.
All right, Debbie, well, where can people get more information about tourism and visiting the area, and anything else that you want them to learn about?
Well, we have a visitor center on State Road 44. It's 2238 State Road 44 in New Smyrna Beach. We're open 7 days a week. You can stop in there and see any of our staff. We've got a lot of literature. And if you're digitally inclined, you can join us on Facebook, Twitter, any of the social media channels. We have 5 platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. And then also we have our website, which is nsbfla.com. And we have a bunch of information and ability to look up our properties and book your next stay.
All right, well, Debbie Meihls, the Executive Director of the New Smyrna Beach Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you, too, for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. Incidentally, you can find the County Council's meeting calendar there, too. In fact, you can use volusia.org to find out about meeting dates, workshops, topics of interest, activities, and how you can become involved. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond. Have a wonderful evening.